Good evening, students. We will continue our discussion on harmonic oscillator problem, and we have obtained a Hermite differential equation in the previous class. And if we can actually find the solution for Hermite differential equation, then we can plug in that value in the total solution, that is psi of z is equal to h of z multiplied by e to the power minus z square by 2. Then the product of these two actually will give us the complete solution of simple harmonic oscillator. And I also mentioned in the previous class that the Hermite differential equation solution is well known to the mathematicians, and actually the quantum chemist or the quantum physicist who actually developed the subject, from the mathematics knowledge, they have just adopted those solutions, and then further they have tried to understand the expression that they have obtained. Just to give you a feeling that I decided to give you a complete picture of Hermite differential equation, how to get the solution of a Hermite differential equation. The solution of Hermite differential equation is actually called as a Hermite polynomial. Okay, Hermite polynomial. In our case, we are actually going to refer, or we are going to denote with h of z. And this is the Hermite differential equation. D square h of z by dz square minus 2z dh of z by dz plus 2nh is equal to 0. And the Hermite polynomial is given by h of z is equal to e to the power z square minus 1 to the power n d to the power n divided by dz to the power n multiplied by e to the power minus z square. So that is the expression, a general expression of Hermite polynomial, which is a solution of Hermite differential equation. Now, in this class, that I will try to explain how to solve the Hermite differential equation for h of z. Okay, so any differential equation, especially this special differential equation like Laguerre differential equation, Hermite differential equation, or whatever the differential equation, their solutions are actually obtained from a generating function. Generating function is unique for a particular differential equation. In the case of Hermite differential equation, it has got its own generating function. The generating function for Hermite differential equation is given by capital S of s comma z, small s comma z, where small s and z are actually two variables. Okay, capital S is the generating function, which is actually depends upon two variables, which is nothing but e to the power minus s square plus 2sg. That is the generating function. Now this generating function, as you can see here, it is a exponential function. And if you try to basically expand the exponential function, like e to the power x can be written as 1 plus x to the power 1 by 1 factorial plus x square by 2 factorial plus x cube by 3 factorial, and so on. We can express that way. Similarly, in this particular case, e to the power minus s square plus 2sg can be written as 1 plus minus s square plus 2sg plus divided by 1 factorial plus minus s square plus 2sg whole square by 2 factorial plus, and so on. We can write any term that that you may be interested in. And all these terms, as you can see here, that you have s terms, s to the s square terms basically, and also you have got z terms, sg terms. Okay, so all those things actually you can combine, in the sense that all the s terms can be combined, all the constant can be combined, and then it will take this type of notation. If you try to combine all the terms in this exponential power series, basically it will take this type of expression. What is that expression? That is sigma n runs from 0 to infinity. Okay, s to the power n by n factorial multiplied by hn of z. Please remember, hn of z is nothing but, when you combine s to the power all the s to the power n term, then it will actually multiply with some type of function which will contain z and s terms, right? So those actually those functions we are representing with the hn of z, still we do not know, and which need to be actually uh, which need to be determined by from our solution. Okay, so what I mean to say is that, okay, there is a differential equation, that is Hermite differential equation. It has got its own special generating function, and from the generating function is nothing but a exponential function. If you try to basically expand the exponential function, it will take this type of notation. Then this in this term, as you can see, that you have s square, s terms are there, and also you have s and z terms are there. So all the forms, common forms, you can write down on one place, and then uh, those basically terms will be multiplied with some function. That function is none other than the hn of z. Okay, so in a simple notation, this particular e to the power minus s square plus 2sg can also be written as sigma n runs from 0 to infinity s to the power n by n factorial hn of c. That is what you can just remember. But how it is relating to that, basically I have explained here, that exponential function, when you expand, all the terms can be combined, and then you can write down those things. Now what I do is that I'm going to take a first derivative, or I'm going to calculate the first derivative of the exponential function, that is uh, uh, our generating function. So dou by dou z of generating function capital S of small s z is equal to dou by dou z of e to the power minus z square by g square plus 2sg. Okay, just we are taking the first, we are evaluating the first derivative of the generating function. Okay, now what is the generating function? So the left hand side you can keep it as such, but on the right hand side you have the function. What is the function? E to the power minus s square plus 2sg. If you are calculating the first derivative of e to the power minus s square plus 2sg, okay, then it has minus s square e power x. E power x, the derivative of e power x is e power x itself. But here we don't have x, but instead we have minus s square plus 2sg. Therefore, we have to calculate the derivative of that one to get the complete derivative of the generating function. Then from this, as you can see here, that here there is a minus s square plus 2sg. The derivative of this one is nothing but s. When you are taking the derivative, only remember that we are only taking the derivative with calculating the derivative with regard to z, not with regard to s. Therefore, this particular s, actually the derivative of minus s square, it becomes 0. But here you have z, okay, 2sg, but the derivative of z is nothing but 2s, is 1, and then as a result we will get 2s. So that the 2s has to be multiplied, or you have to write here. Okay, the derivative of minus s square plus 2sg is actually nothing but 2s. Okay, and e power x, basically e power x, that's all. So what we actually have done is that we have taken the first derivative of the generating function. But you can realize that the generating function capital S of small s g is nothing but the sigma n runs from 0 to infinity s to the power n by n factorial hn of z, right? So I can just replace the generating function with this one. So I can write e to the power minus s square plus 2sg, or I can write minus sigma n runs from 0 to infinity s to the power n by n factorial multiplied by hn of z. So anything I can write it, because all are related. On the right hand side, the 2s multiplied by e to the power minus s square plus 2sg remain the same. Now what we do, that as you can see from the left hand side, we have a derivative notation, right? The partial differentiation notation is there, so that you can take it inside, and this is the differentiation is only with regard to z. Therefore, when you take inside, it doesn't affect the s or neither the n, because these are a constant. N is constant, and of course this is a function, but since we are only considering the derivation with regard to z, therefore it doesn't affect. So straight away it goes there and then it will sit over here. Okay, it will operate on the hn of z, because hn of z depends upon the variable z. Okay, so and moreover, hn of z, it's only a function of z, it doesn't have any other variables. Therefore, I can actually remove the partial differentiation notation also, and straight away I can write like sigma n runs from 0 to infinity s to the power n by n factorial. And when you take this differentiation inside, then it will actually go and then operate here. That is d by dHn of z by dz, we will obtain. Then which is equal to uh, on the right hand side, you can see here there is a term that is e to the power minus s square plus 2sg. This is a generating function. If it is a generating function, I can easily replace with sigma n runs from 0 to infinity s to the power n by n factorial hn of z, right? So I have written here. Okay, we can write here, and also you can see here there is a s. S is a variable, and this s variable you can take inside the summation. Okay, you can take the inside the summation, and in that case, s to the power n plus 1. So the numerator becomes s to the power n. Why? Because one s is actually coming from this particular thing. Okay, and the remaining terms on the right hand side remain the same. So 2 multiplied by summation n runs from 0 to infinity s to the power n plus 1 by n factorial hn of z on the right hand side. Okay, so you can just look at these two expressions that we have on the right hand side and also on the left hand side. On the left hand side, you have got a basically infinite power series. Similarly, on the right hand side, again you have got an infinite power series. Okay, you just vary the values for n, and then accordingly you will get different terms on both sides. But you can just look at this, that there is a equality. Okay, there is a equality, and based on this I can make a conclusion that a infinite power series on the left hand side, which is exactly is equal to a infinite power series on the right hand side. Okay, so this basically happens only when the coefficients of the power series on the left hand side and the coefficients of the right hand side are actually equal to each other. Then the power series actually becomes each other, right? So both the coefficients have to be made. Basically, one can actually match the coefficients to get to maintain the inequality. Okay, then what we can do, I just wanted to match the same term, the coefficient of the same term. For example, I can think of a term s to the power 5. I can think of matching a coefficient of s to the power 5. If I wanted to have s to the power 5 term on the left hand side summation, what I should do? Well, we can actually substitute s to n is equal to 5, right? So you can just substitute n is equal to 5. Okay, so s to the power 5 and 5 factorial, 1 over 5 factorial, and then dh5 dh5z by dz. Okay, so wherever there is n, you can just replace 5. That's all on the left hand side. On the other hand, from the right hand side, I just wanted to evaluate the coefficient of, again, the same s to the power 5. You can see here, suppose if you want to evaluate, if you want to obtain the coefficient of s to the power 5, then here you should not substitute n is equal to 5. Why? Because if you substitute n is equal to 5, this s to the power n plus 1 becomes s to the power 6, which is something that we don't want. We only wanted to compare the same power of s to the same power of s. Okay, we can actually compare the same powers of s. If you are interested to compare s to the power 6, that you can do. Okay, but in this case we are only interested in s to the power 5. Therefore, to obtain s to the power 5, uh, from the right hand side, if you want to obtain the s to the power 5 coefficient, then n is equal to 4 need to be substituted. Okay, we have to substitute n is equal to 4. So from this, okay, there is a 2 outside the summation notation, so that you can actually straight away write here. And n is equal to 2, if is n is equal to 4, if you substitute, this becomes s to the power 5. So that I am writing here. Okay, then there is 1 by 4 factorial. Okay, and here h4 of z, h4 of z. Okay, so on the right hand side, n is, to obtain the s to the power 5 term, the coefficient of s to the power 5, we have to substitute uh, n is equal to 4. On the other hand, on the left hand side, you can actually substitute n is equal to 5. And you can see here that both the things actually you can cancel out, s to the power 5, s to the power 5. So what you get is basically, that is the remaining coefficient that you are going to get, right? Now, what I wanted to do is not just calculating some term, but we are more interested in comparing a common term. The common term is this. So I wanted to evaluate s to the power n, the coefficient of s to the power n on both sides. Okay, in that case, so on the left hand side, you can happily substitute n is equal to n itself, but on the right hand side, you have to substitute n is equal to n minus 1, right? So to obtain the s to the power n coefficient on the right hand side power series, you have to substitute n is equal to n minus 1. This is basically a general notation. So basically from here you can simply cancel out the common terms, right? S to the power n on the left hand side and s to the power n on the right hand side both get cancelled out, and this n, you can move the other side, so this goes and then sit on the right hand side on the numerator part, that is n factorial by n minus 1 factorial. I hope that you all know what is the answer. So n factorial by n minus 1 factorial is nothing but 2n, n is nothing but n. Therefore, left hand side we have dhn of z by dz, which is equal to this factorial, simplification of this factorial value is nothing but n, and there is a 2, so 2n, and then hn of h n minus 1 of z. Okay, so that is what we obtain from this. So you can label this expression and then keep it in safe custody for, and then remember this expression, this relation, we are going to use it as we proceed further. Now the next step, what I'm going to do, I have a generating function. Okay, and the generating function, this time we wanted to basically evaluate the first derivative with respect to s. We wanted to evaluate the first derivative with respect to s. Please remember, we have initially taken the first derivative with respect to z, and we obtained some kind of a relation that we labeled with 2. Now what I'm telling, that we can actually uh, calculate the first derivative with respect to s also. Okay, so that is what I'm doing here, that this is the generating function. This generating function, you can take the first derivative with respect to s. So if you want to calculate with respect to s, then what is the answer? The answer is very simple. This becomes, okay, so minus 2s. From this actually, uh, the derivative of minus s square is nothing but minus 2s. Okay, and the derivative of the second term, it gives you uh, 2z, because the derivative of s is nothing but 1. Therefore, what we left is basically 2c. So minus 2z, 2s plus 2z multiplied by we have generating function. So this generating function, actually, you remember that the uh, The derivative of this one, e power x, is nothing but e power x itself. So then, but the e power x, we don't have x alone, but it is actually multiplied by e to the power minus s square plus 2sg. So this is nothing but a generating function. Okay, so this generating function we can replace with this summation n runs from 0 to infinity s to the power n by n factorial hn of z. Okay, on the left hand side also we have got the generating function. This we can replace with this one. Now the left hand side we have got a partial differential. We have to basically evaluate the first derivative with respect to s. Therefore, unlike in the previous case, here we have to take the first derivative with respect to s, but here you can note down here s to the power n. So the derivative of s to the power n is nothing but n minus 1, right? So s to the power n minus 1 divided by, of course, n into s to the power n minus 1, and n divided by n minus 1 factorial. So which is nothing but basically it is n minus 1 factorial multiplied by hn of c. So that is the simplification on the left hand side. Okay, just to calculate the first derivative with respect to yes. Okay, we have s to the power n, so n into s to the power n minus 1, right? So now that n divided by n factorial, already down there is a n factorial. So n cancel out, then on the denominator part we will get actually n minus 1 factorial. So that is the simplification. On the right hand side, what you can do, here you split up the terms. Okay, and minus 2 is a constant, you can write it outside the summation notation, and then s you can take it inside the summation. Then this becomes s to the power n plus 1 by n factorial multiplied by hn of c, plus here again 2z you can write outside or you can write inside, it doesn't matter, because here you have s, and but this is z, so it doesn't affect much. So you can keep it as such, and then we can proceed for the next step. In the next step, again the same logic applies here, that you, on the left hand side we have a power series, on the right hand side we have another power series, and in between there is a equality notation, which means is that, which also indicates that the coefficients must be equal to each other. Only then that equality will be satisfied. Let us compare uh, s to the power 5 term on both sides. How to evaluate s to the power, the coefficient of s to the power 5? To obtain the s to the power 5 coefficient on the left hand side power series, one has to substitute n is equal to 6. Please remember that on the left hand side we have summation n runs from 0 to infinity, right? S to the power n minus 1 by n minus 1 factorial. Okay, if you want to obtain s to the power 5, then one number has to be increased. Therefore n is equal to 6 need to be substituted. Then in that case, s to the power 5 by 5 factorial, because it is basically n minus 1 on the s to the power n minus 1 by n minus 1 factorial. Therefore, it is 5 factorial. And then h6 of z, that is what it is on the left hand side thing. Then on the right hand side, there are two terms. The first term actually contains sigma n runs from 0 to infinity. There is, of course, there is a constant minus 2. And then inside the summation notation, we have s to the power n plus 1 by n factorial. Okay, s to the power n plus 1. So therefore, one number n cannot be same, so one number has to be reduced. Therefore n has to be n minus 1. Okay, that means uh, n has to be, to obtain the s to the power 5 coefficient, n has to be 4. N has to be 4. Therefore h4 of z by divided by 4 factorial from the right hand side first term. Then then the second term on the right hand side, there is the 2z, and then summation n runs from 0 to infinity. Then we have got s to the power n by n factorial, and here there is nothing, n minus 1 or n plus 1 is not there. Therefore straight away we have to substitute n is equal to 5. That means is that h5 of z divided by 5 factorial multiplied by s to the power 5. So you can just both cancel out, and then you can simplify further, which we are not really interested in. What we are interested is a general term, the coefficient of a general term, that is s to the power n term. So for obtaining s to the power n coefficient on the left hand side, one has to substitute uh, 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 one has to substitute basically uh, n is equal to n plus 1 itself. Therefore, what we get is hn of h n plus 1 of z by n factorial, which is equal to minus 2. Uh, on the right hand side, it is h minus 1 of z by n minus 1 factorial plus 2z multiplied by hn of z by n factorial multiplied by s to the power n. Okay, as you can see here, both side we have s to the power n. So these s to the power 1 n thing can be cancelled out. And further, what you can do, you can actually multiply the entire expression with n factorial. Okay, you just multiply it. Why I am doing that? Well, you can see here that there is n factorial in the denominator, and here there is a n minus 1 factorial in this term. On the second term on the right hand side, you have n factorial. I just wanted to make it somewhat simpler, the expression. Therefore, we can actually multiply the entire expression with the n factorial, which essentially gives us hn plus 1 of z is equal to minus 2n. Where from n has come? Well, here we are multiplying with the n factorial. Therefore, here n factorial by n minus 1 factorial, which is nothing but n. Okay, so there is already 2. So this minus 2n multiplied by h n minus 1 of z. Okay, and then 2c, and then in the denominator we have n factorial, and the numerator, since we are multiplying with n factorial, both get cancelled out, and what we get is basically 2z multiplied by hn of z. So this expression you can just label, and then label it. And further, what I am going to do, so let us recall the previous expression what we have obtained, that is d square hn of z by dz square is equal to 2n dHn of hn minus 1 of z by dc. That is the previous expression, so which we labeled as a equation number 2, right? So this expression I can actually calculate the second derivative. Why we are doing that? Well, I will tell you. So what we are actually trying to do, we are trying to first of all prove that the hn of z is actually a solution of the differential equation. That is what I am trying to prove it. Okay, hn of z is indeed the polynomial which is a solution of the differential equation. If it is a differential equation, if it is a if hn of z is the solution of the differential equation, then it should actually give that differential equation. What is the differential equation? That is the Hermite differential equation. So initially we are going to prove that the hn of z is the solution, and if it is a solution, it should actually give the differential equation. So the first part, basically what I'm trying to do is basically to get the Hermite differential equation. Okay, from equation number 2 we can actually evaluate the second derivative. So actually it is a first derivative. If you remember and recall, the equation number 2 is nothing but dHn of z by dz is equal to 2n hn minus 1 of z. Please recall the equation number 2 that we have obtained previously. Equation number 2 is nothing but the dHn of z by dz, which is equal to 2n multiplied by hn minus 1 of z. hn minus 1 of z. Now that particular expression, I'm interested in the second derivative of that particular expression. How to evaluate? Very simple, that we have already first derivative, just d hn of z, then it becomes, if you take the second derivative of that, d square hn of z by dz square. On the right hand side we have 2n multiplied by hn minus 1 of z by dc. So that you can just straight away take the first derivative. So why we are doing all this thing? Well, it is very simple that I wanted to prove that since I'm assuming that Hn of z is the polynomial or the solution of Hermite differential equation, and we should actually get that Hermite differential equation. Okay, that is what. So the first part of our discussion would be mostly, proving that the Hn of z satisfy the differential equation. So from equation number 2, we have already d Hn of z divided by dz, which is equal to 2n Hn minus 1 of z, right? Now, I just wanted to evaluate not d Hn, but instead I want d Hn minus 1 of z. That means wherever there is a n, we have to substitute n minus 1 in equation number 2, right? So I can substitute in the equation number 2. I want to evaluate what is d Hn minus 1 of z. Equation 2 actually is d Hn of z in terms of dHn of z. So therefore, I just wanted to evaluate for some reason dHn minus 1 of z by dc is equal to 2n. So n I have to replace with n minus 1. And already I have hn minus 1 of z in equation number 2. But since we are replacing n with n minus 1, then this becomes hn minus 2 of z. Okay, I hope that you are following. Now, from the second derivative which we have obtained, the second derivative of the equation number 2, we have got already d square hn of z by dc square, which is equal to 2n, okay, which is equal to 2n multiplied by d hn minus 1 of z by dc. Okay, so that this particular term was there initially. So in the second derivative of expression number 1, number 2, actually this contains here, okay, 2n multiplied by this. But now this is exactly this quantity. Therefore, you can substitute this value here, okay, initially. So when you calculate the second derivative of expression number 2, this has got 2n multiplied by dHn minus 1 of z by dz. And dHn minus 1 of z by dz can be evaluated from equation number 2 itself by substituting n is equal to n minus 1. Okay, so essentially what you are going to get is this: d square hn of z by dz square is equal to 2n multiplied by 2 into n minus 1 multiplied by hn minus 2 of z. Right, well, you can label this expression for the future reference. And equation number 3, we have already obtained from equation number 3. What is that equation number 3? So we have got an expression for hn plus 1 of z is equal to minus 2n n minus 1 of z plus 2z hn of z. That is what equation number 3. So from that expression, I don't want hn plus 1 of z, but instead what I wanted is that hn. If I want hn of z instead of hn plus 1 of z, then I can just replace n is equal to n minus 1. So if I replace in the expression number 3, n is equal to n minus 1, I can get this particular relation. Hn of z is equal to minus 2 n minus 1 hn minus 2 of z plus 2z hn minus 1 of z. So that is what I will be getting. Okay, now having understood all those things, so what we can do, we can just substitute all the values. Okay, what are those values? We in the original expression we have got original expression is nothing but the second derivative expression. So here you have this and hn minus 2, hn minus 2. So from this you can actually write down the value. Okay, hn minus 2, what is that? You can write down. Similarly, hn minus 1 of z values you can write down. And essentially we will get this type of expression. Hn of z is equal to minus 2 multiplied by n minus 1 by 2n multiplied by 2n minus 1. Okay, and this is what it is. So 2n, this one, if I can move here, then I can obtain relation hn minus 2 of z, right? So here you have already something that minus 2 n minus 1, that you can keep it as such. But this expression you can replace with the d square hn of z by dz square, right? And there is a coefficient. That coefficient is there, that will go on sit in the denominator part. Okay, then plus 2z. Okay, from this expression 2g, hn minus 1 of z is nothing but hn minus 1 of z is nothing but we have already obtained. So 1 over uh, it is nothing but 1 over 2n multiplied by dHn of z by dz from the expression number 2. Okay, so if you can simplify this expression, okay, so if you can simplify this expression by multiplying with 2n on both sides, you can see here that the numerator has got denominator has got 2n, so you can simply multiply the entire expression with the 2n now to cancel everything, and then the common terms are also can be cancelled out. So this, in this expression, you can also, here you can do a simple simplification. This actually cancel out, 1 over 2n is there, and here that 1 over 2n is there. Okay, so 1 over 2n, it can be cancelled out by multiplying with 2n. So 2n hn of z is equal to minus d square hn of z by dz square plus 2z d hn of z by dz. Okay, please remember that 1 over 2n here and then here both got cancelled out because we multiplied with the 2n. Then finally what we obtained this relation, and if you can actually rearrange this particular relation a little bit, where this particular thing you can take, of course, everything these two terms you can move to the other side, and then essentially what you get is d square hn of z by dz square minus 2z d hn of z by dz plus 2n hn of z, which is equal to 0. So what is this expression? So what is this expression? This expression is nothing but the expression what we have actually uh, got the differential equation. This expression is nothing but the Hermite differential equation. This expression is nothing but Hermite differential equation. So what is the conclusion? The conclusion is that the Hn of z is indeed the solution of Hermite differential equation. And in fact, it is also referred to as the Hermite polynomial. As of now, what is exactly Hn of z, we do not know. Well, that is what for we are all doing. This much time we have been discussing everything. No, ultimately we just want to evaluate what is Hermite polynomial Hn of z. To get the Hn of z, then again I have to go back to the generating function. From the generating function itself, we can evaluate what is Hn of z. Okay, so the generating function of Hermite differential equation is given by capital S which is a function of s comma z, which is equal to which is equal to summation n runs from 0 to infinity s to the power n by n factorial hn of z. That is the generating function. Now, this generating function, I can basically expand it like this. Okay, you can substitute n is equal to 0 and n is equal to 1, 2, 3, and so on. You can substitute whatever you want, and but those are something that we don't want. But what I'm interested in is evaluating the first derivative of the generating function. Okay, what is the first derivative of generating function? The first derivative of the generating function is given by h1 of z. Okay, I think I have missed out the constant here. Please note down that here there will be a 1 constant. If you substitute n is equal to 0, 0 factorial becomes actually 1, right? So s to the power 0, that is 1. So this is basically h0 of z. It is basically actually a constant, which is nothing but actually it is a 1. Okay, so when you evaluate the first derivative of the generating function, then what we obtain is that h1 of z plus 2s by 2 factorial h2 of z plus 3s square by 3 factorial h3 of z plus and so on. You can write how many terms that you would like to write down. It all depends upon you, but it is not required for my discussion. So just 2-3 points, 2-3 terms is sufficient. As you can see here, the point I am going to illustrate is this. Suppose you can evaluate the first derivative of the generating function and substitute s is equal to 0. Okay, we have evaluated the first derivative of the generating function. Okay, this is the first derivative generator function. In this expression, if you substitute s is equal to 0, what will happen? Here there is a s term and there is a s term, and then in the higher order terms also you will have s. So since you are substituting s is equal to 0, then only one term that will left over, that is h1 of z. Okay, so you can evaluate the first derivative of the generating function and then you can substitute s is equal to 0. Then what you will get is h1 of z. Okay, that is something that you should keep in mind. Now what I do, this is first derivative. I am interested in evaluating the second derivative. The second derivative is nothing but here this is actually is a constant. There is no s term. Okay, please remember that you are actually going to evaluate the derivation with respect to s, right? That you keep in mind. So when you evaluate the second derivative, then this becomes h2 of c plus 2s by 2 factorial h3 of c, and then higher order terms will be there where you will actually have the s term. And then same logic you can apply here, that you can actually substitute s is equal to 0 in the second derivative of the generating function. Then in this case, this becomes h2 of z. Okay, this in this case, this becomes h2 of z. Okay, so this also keep in mind. Okay, now there is a general trend. I hope that you have noticed here. If you try to take the first derivative of the generating function, then you are going to get the first polynomial, that is h1 of z. Okay, please try to understand what is h1 of z. This is the first polynomial of Hermite differential equation. This is the second polynomial. Okay, third polynomial, and so on. You can calculate different polynomials. So if you evaluate, if you take the first derivative and then substitute s is equal to 0, then you will get the first polynomial h1 of z. Suppose if you evaluate the second derivative of the generating function and substitute s is equal to 0, in this case you are going to get h2 of z. Okay, so there is a common there is a nice correlation. If you do n times, if you evaluate the generating function, the derivative, nth derivative of the generating function, and then you can basically do that and then substitute s is equal to 0. So when you do that, the answer is going to be hn of z. If I do one time, h1 of z. If I two times, h2 of z. Three times, h3 of z. Okay, so if I do n times derivation and then if I substitute s is equal to 0, I'm going to get basically hn of z. Right, this is for sure. Well, what is generating function actually? Hn of z is equal to, okay, I'm just writing this way. I am substituting what is capital S of small s z. Okay, it is just a generating function. So the generating function is given by e to the power minus s square plus 2sg. Okay, and substitute s is equal to 0 at s is equal to 0. And then, well, I can do a small mathematical trick. I can just add z square term and then I can subtract z square term. Okay, so I have e to the power minus z square, sorry, e to the power minus s square plus 2sg In this expression, what I do is that I will just subtract minus z square, and then I will add z square. So the net effect is 0, right? So it doesn't have, nothing happens. Then what I will have is that, s square, okay, plus 2sg, okay, plus minus z square plus z square. This is what I do. So this is exponential. It is on top of the in the power of the exponential thing. Then that is what it is. So I can write down the first three terms. I can simplify. This is nothing but minus of s minus z square, s minus z whole square plus z square, right? This is like this is a and this is b. So a to the power, e to the power a plus b can be written as e to the power a multiplied by e to the power b, right? So that I can do that. That's the reason I'm writing. And this three terms is nothing but minus of s minus z whole square. You can just do the reverse calculation, you will get that. And this is what it is. Okay. Now I can do one more thing, one more small trick here. That please remember that if we are only taking the derivative with regard to s. Therefore, here this is e to the power z square. E to the power z square has only z. There is no s. Therefore, that is a constant with regard to the partial differentiation with regard to s. Therefore, this e to the power z square can be written outside the partial differentiation notation. Okay, I hope that you are following. And then dou square dou to the power n by dou s to the power n multiplied by the remaining term you can write down as such. Okay, and this actually I can do one more thing, is a small thing, that if you are doing n times the derivation, each time when you do the derivation you are going to get a minus, you are going to get a negative sign. That depends depending upon how many times that you are doing the derivation, you will get, or you may get a negative sign, or you may not get a negative sign. So that all depends upon how many times that you are doing. So each time when you are doing the derivation, there is a minus 1 will come out. Okay, therefore that minus 1 z square e to the power z square minus 1 to the power n. Suppose if it is 2 times, minus 1 square, how much it is, right? So each time when you do one derivative, that minus 1 will comes out. Therefore and then as a result of which, if you are doing n time, then n has to be there on the so minus 1 has to be taken outside as a common thing, and then to the power n. And that is one thing. Similarly, the other part you can keep it as such, that is e to the power partial differentiation with regard to s multiplied by e to the power minus s minus this minus of s minus z whole square. You can substitute s is equal to 0 in this expression. So this one, when you expand all the things for s is equal to 0 means e to the power, everything basically vanishes. Here you can see here s is equal to 0. There is a minus, right? And then as a result of which, that this partial differentiation inside, if you substitute s is equal to 0, this becomes e to the power minus z square. Okay, and I hope that you are following. Hn of z is equal to e to the power z square multiplied by minus 1 to the power n, dou to the power 1 by dou z to the power n multiplied by e to the power minus z square. Okay, and this is just these are all simple mathematical tricks. I am sure that you can take a you can do it by just exercising it on a piece of paper, right? And now we got a general solution. What is the general solution? The general solution is that Hn of z is equal to e to the power z square minus 1 to the power n dou to the power n by dou z to the power n multiplied by this. So Hn of z we have obtained. You please recall that the total solution is a product of this Hn of z multiplied by e to the power minus z square by 2. So I can substitute and then I can write down this is a complete solution. Hn of z is equal to sin of z is equal to Hn of z, which is nothing but e to the power z square minus 1 to the power n. The partial differentiation again we can remove because inside the partial differentiation we have only a z function, therefore that can be removed. D to the power n by d z to the power n multiplied by e to the power minus z square. Okay, that is the Hermite polynomial multiplied by asymptotic solution component, that is e to the power minus z square by 2. What is this n? Remember that this is a complete solution, but this is not normalized. So again, there is one more step that we have to obtain. We have to ensure that this is square integrable. Remember and recall the postulate what we have discussed. And we got the solution, but we have to ensure the three conditions: what is it is a continuous, and it is a square integrable, and then it is single valued. Of course, a square integral, single valued, and then continuous. Those are obviously is the case, but the square integrability is something that we have to do it, and from the square integrability we can actually obtain what is n. N is nothing but the normalization constant of the wave function. So this normalization constant we shall calculate in the next class. Thank you for listening.